genuinely surprised.
Yeah.
Welcome to Furries Anonymous. My name is Osi.
And I am a furry.
And I'm a furry.
That's okay.
All right, Mr. Ben Diskin.
Hello.
How's everybody doing? Is this thing even on?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Great. Welcome to my panel. This is a panel where I believe, if memory serves, I tell you all about who I am, and then I let you guys ask me questions about me, and then I answer those questions, okay? Alright, sweet. My name is Ben. I've just recently become a furry, apparently, according to everybody on the internet. I guess that's how that works. I've been ordained. They dipped me in a fountain, and I came out covered in fur. I've been a professional voice actor for the past almost 31 years. I've been doing this since I was a little teeny tiny tyke. I've done stuff like Hey Arnold when I was like 15. I did Codename Kids Next Door as a young adult. And a whole bunch of other stuff since then, and it's all led up to Agretzko, which is actually currently like my favorite show. Completely unironically, I just like the show. And so now I am here. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, just stick your hand up. If you are not a speaker, because I know that's kind of a thing, maybe bump somebody next to you and say, "Ask me this question," okay? I see a hand up. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
What was your favorite voice acting gig?
My favorite voice acting gig? Like ever? Oh my god, ever? I don't really have one, if I'm being honest with you, because it changes every time. But right now, it's totally Agretzko, because it's like I just love this show. I think it's extremely adorable, and it makes me very happy. Yes, sir. The costume. Oh, I actually have never met Yeti. I'm hoping to, though, because we're going to do a signing in downtown LA at the Sanrio store. So hopefully I'll actually get to meet Yeti, because I think she's still going to be there. So I have no clue yet. Yeti. I have no clue Yeti. Yeah, sorry, but soon I will. Madam in the back.
Me?
Yes.
Gee, Ben, why does your mom let you eat 2 salads?
Why does she let me eat 2 salads?
2 salads?
Is this a reference to something?
Yeah.
You're skinny.
Twitter. You had 2 salads, remember?
I did? When did I eat 2 salads?
Yeah, you had 2 salads.
Ben, they know more about you than you do.
Wow. Okay, well, you know what? I do get a side salad with my salad, but that's because I'm trying to avoid becoming diabetic. I found out I was pre-diabetic like a few months ago. So, like, that's why I'm eating, like, a lot of salad now, and skipping dessert, and having my coffee black. Darkness. Yes, sir. Yes, and they definitely did not use them, because they're all terrible and very inappropriate. If there are any children in here, I will get in big trouble if I mention any of them. Yes, sir, in the back. Well, she made a delivery. When she did not actually have a baby, but she did make a delivery. But yay. Yeah, this is just terrible. Yes! Yes.
Alright. So how sweet do you think Joseph Joe started off when you realized he got his mom in the bathhouse?
I think that at the very end of the show, there's just this look on his face like... And I think that's when, like, multiple brain cells die, because I'm pretty sure in part 3 he's just not as clever as he is in part 2, so I'm going to say that's what caused it, is just realizing that he'd actually looked at his own mother in the bathtub and went, whoa! So, yeah, that's the one. Blue shirt man. Yes? Favorite Haida line in the whole series? That's why I'm gonna punch him right in the face! And it totally happened, because he is strong and tough and it did. Oh, yes, sir.
When recording from Xenoblade X in 2014 or 2015, what was most memorable to you?
The most memorable thing about Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yes.
So in case anybody's wondering, this is a video game. It's where you pilot like a giant mech at some point, and it's like this action RPG. You get to choose your own voice, and I play the Joker voice, not like little Batman, but like a jokester. Yeah, it's just me talking. And when I'm flying the ship, everybody has to say things like, like missiles away and stuff like that, but I just got to go pew 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 pew. So that was my favorite part of that whole experience. Yes, sir. Yes.
What was it like working on Kids Next Door?
Oh, Kids Next Door was like the very first show I ever did that was like really, really popular. I'd been on stuff like Hey Arnold, which was popular, but I played like a minor character. And I was a major character in a show called Problem Child on like the USA Cartoon Express way back when. But not a lot of people really saw that or watched it. But Kids Next Door was like my first like major show where basically everybody who made my childhood what it was there. So like Frank Welker plays my dad. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're the Cave of Wonders from Aladdin, and now you're gonna be my dad. Yay! So like that whole experience was just like the child in me was like screaming, like, ask them for their autographs, and the professional adult in me was saying, no. Please don't make an idiot out of yourself, please. So that's what that was like. It was a lot of conflict. Yes, sir.
What's it like voicing Fox and Bond for 7
Oh, Bon is like my favorite character to play on that show because despite the fact that he just like yells like whenever he fights and it's like really rough on my voice, most of the time he's just really like kind of chill and relaxed the whole time, like, hey, what's going on? And my favorite thing about him has nothing to do with his personality. It's the fact that no matter what, even though he wears this extremely specific red shirt that's constantly being destroyed, he'll randomly find some other person wearing that. It'll be like, hang on a sec, leave, and then he just suddenly has a new shirt. So you're like, did he beat the hell out of some other guy, steal this shirt, and come back? It's like the character designers were like, look, we don't want to design an entire wardrobe for this guy, so just find some reason to just make him get the exact same shirt. So that's my favorite part of that. I'm gonna say, the man in the pinkish shirt and red, yes, that's you.
Well, that's really voice acting. Given all the voices that you've done over the years, do you find that you have to do a different warm-up for each one? Or are you able to kind of get in the character and get into the voice?
It depends. If it's like a really high-pitched voice, it's actually going to be the time of day. So, like, for instance, there's this show called Digimon. There was one of the seasons was Digimon Fusion. I play Shoutmon, who's very, very gravelly, and he always sounds like this. And so for that, I can do that early in the morning. It's like not a big deal because it's basically me clearing out my throat. But I also play
a little character named Cutemon, and he's really, really nice and sweet. But to do his voice, I can't sound gravelly at all. It's very difficult.
So for that sort of stuff, like it's like, oh yeah, I waited too long. It's 6 p.m. Can't do that voice anymore. Like, oh, did it too early. Oh my God, it sounds like this. So yeah, no, there's like I wouldn't say different warm-ups. Usually just in the car. Mercifully, I keep the windows up when I'm driving because you'd hear me going like. And I don't think people like. Sorry about your ears, by the way. I realized that was probably very, very loud, and I apologize. Because there's like nobody working the soundboard, so whoops, my bad. Probably should have went. Let's see. Madam, I believe, yes, in the back. Oh no, I'm sorry, sir. Yes, in blue shirt. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And what is your most emotional line read? Like, the most emotional that you've ever recorded for any of your cartoons, video games, anime?
Ooh, most emotional? Okay, let's see. There is it's an anime, it's called Erased. And it's actually like a role that I normally don't get to play, which is very, very serious and not at all comedic. And the entire show is about a guy going back in time to play as his younger self to save these little girls from being murdered. And when he finds his own mother, well, spoiler alert, this is at the beginning of the series, so it's not really a spoiler. He finds his own mother dead. For some reason, that really, really kind of like not to use the word facetiously, but it totally triggered me. I don't know what it was, but like I wound up breaking down and crying in the middle of recording that session. I don't know why it like got to me for some reason. My mom is fine, by the way. She's totally so like I don't know what it was, but that would probably be it.
Just love her too much.
Yeah, I love my mommy too much. In the white shirt. You know, I thought it would be difficult. It has not been difficult at all. I came in with a lot of preconceptions, because, you know, the internet. But actually, I find that the one thing I've noticed is this community seems to be mostly a whole bunch of very talented artists and nice people who like good art. So it's like, oh, I can get used to that very easily. Like, no, there have been like zero crazy people or anybody like weirding me out or anything like that. Everybody's been really nice. So. Hey. And the purple with the ears. Yes.
What's it like being a voice actor?
Being a voice actor is really, really cool when you're working. It's basically a temp job, is the best way of looking at it. It's like being like a substitute teacher, right? When you're working, fantastic. When you're not, you sit there like rocking back and forth in your own home going, oh my God, I'm never going to get work again. I'm going to die in a hole. Oh God, oh God. And so basically, if you ever meet any actors and they seem kind of insane, that's why. It's because we're constantly battling with like self-doubt. Yay! Drinking that depresso espresso. With the Pichu.
Are there any upcoming anime that we can look forward to seeing voices?
Yes, one just came out. It's Cells at Work, and I play pneumococcus, I believe. I'm pneumonia, the illness, and it's just me screeching the whole time and yelling, and appearing to be a dangerous villain at the beginning, and then just becoming a comic relief bad guy by the end. So yay! Yes, sir.
So, would you say we fully converted you yet, and can we expect to see you unveil your persona in the coming months?
I'm gonna say no, not really. Here's the deal. I like you guys. I do. I feel like I don't like it when people misrepresent themselves deliberately for some sort of personal gain. Like, I want to get more Twitter followers, so yeah, I'm a furry now. Follow me. I hate that kind of crap. It's manipulative and gross. I don't like it. So that's all. I will be honest with you. I like you guys, but it doesn't quite resonate with me. But I do have a good time dressing up in costumes. So there's that. So, yeah, so yo, I will say. Let's see. I'm going to go with the man in the yellow shirt.
Where'd you get the hiding costume and
Yes, that was made in secret by Dither, who is an amazingly talented fursuit maker who contacted me over Twitter. He is at Ditherkins. And he said, like, hey man, I want to make you a hyena costume. And I went, sure buddy, okay. Like, that's not going to happen. Yeah, all right, no problem. Yeah, sure. And he kept showing me, like, over the months, like, here's the progress. And I'm like, oh, it's going to happen. And he said, I'm going to have this thing ready for you by Anthrocon. I'm going to stay up all night and I'm going to finish this thing. And he was not joking. He did. He came down to the wire. I think it turned out great. The person whose hand was forcefully put up. Yes.
Oh, okay. Me or?
Sure, why not?
Oh, okay.
He did it by himself.
Okay.
So, there's a hiding costume. How did I miss this memo? And will there be video of the hiding costume?
Yes.
Okay.
I wore this to opening ceremony. And so it's on the YouTube page. I believe Anthrocon has its own YouTube page. So
It's
it's
already on Twitter.
It is already on Twitter even.
Oh, how will we?
And I'll also be wearing it for the Great Fursuit Parade. If you see Hyena wearing a leather jacket and looking like he's about this close to dying of heat exhaustion, that's me! Please pick me up off the ground if I fall down. It's not a joke. With the green lei. With the animators? I know quite a few storyboard artists back in Los Angeles, but in terms of animators, I have friends who do it, not necessarily professionally. So, yes, but also, yeah, yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, so the first question we got was, what was your favorite voice acting thing you did? What would be the worst one that you had?
Oh, the worst voice acting job ever? Okay. I won't mention the director's name because I'm too nice of a person. So this was for a Korean film. It's a 3D animated movie. I was brought in because the director believed that he could use me for a whole bunch of different voices. This was a Screen Actors Guild project, and for every SAG contract, each one works kind of differently. The film contract is probably the most expensive contract, and it's only used if you plan on making your movie for theaters specifically, not just for like home DVD type releases. So it turns out every single voice counts as an additional paycheck, and this guy did not know that. So my agent correctly informed him of how the contract worked. Well, he didn't like that. Also in the contract, it states that you can keep the actor there for 8 hours, up to. Nobody ever actually does that, because at a certain point, we all just start getting completely tired, and you get terrible, terrible results. So what this guy decided to do was give me one role. It was a total of maybe about 7.5 pages worth of dialogue, and he had me stay there for the full 8 hours doing this tiny little part in this film. It was the worst direction I've ever received. It was the most nauseatingly frustrating session ever, to the point where halfway through I called up my agent and yelled at her and said, I will never work for this blankety blank 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 person ever again. And I never yell at anybody, especially not my agent. So she was just going, oh, what happened? What, like, I can't do this anymore. This guy's breaking down. But I stayed through, I finished the whole darn session, and then after everything was said and done, and I did like 8 hours of absolute torture, they replaced me with a celebrity. So now my joke is, boy, I sure hope James Woods doesn't replace me again. Yeah. So, yeah, that was the worst session ever. And I did at least get paid, but it was not worth it at all. I would have rather just given up the money and gone home. I should have done that. The guy waving in the background.
So where earlier you mentioned with like the text or how you wanted to like get everyone's autographs, and then the other part of you was saying no, don't. So at the end of it, when you were more friends with them, did you get the autographs?
I never did. I never got the autographs. No. Well, you know, here's what happened. So it's a side story. I was in college at the time. Because of the acting career, I could really only go to school part-time, but I was trying to get a degree in television and film. And one of the things you needed to do was get a certain number of hours as an internship. One of my teachers was really nice and really understanding, and he said, let me help you out. I will count the time that you're spending working on this show as an internship. And I went, oh my gosh, thank you. What can I do for you to repay you? And he said, my kids are a huge fan of that show. And I said, oh, okay, cool. Well, one of our projects in school was to do a documentary. And my friends, my classmates, decided to make a documentary about Kids Next Door for school. And I was like, this is great, and this would be a great gift for this professor who's helped me out so much. And they said, sure, no problem. Well, they did some interviews with me, and then we went to an actual recording session. And they brought the cast in one at a time and talked to them and interviewed them. It turned out, somewhere, and I have no idea why, they didn't tell me, they decided to change the focus from a Kids Next Door documentary to a Ben Diskin documentary. So, all of the people who I looked up to were not being interviewed about their enormous bodies of work. They were being said like, so hey, what do you think of Ben Diskin? Is he just like the greatest voice actor ever? And I was so painfully mortified by that. I apologized to them all profusely, and I never had the guts to ask any of them for anything ever again because it was so humiliating. So, no, I never got their autograph. Man with license plate. Oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I could not tell from here. Oh, yes. Both of my parents are professional actors,
And they put me in the industry when I was a little teeny tiny baby, and like about technically before I was born. But I started doing auditions when I was a month old. And it was like for McDonald's commercials and stuff like that. Like I just have to sit there and eat some chicken McNuggets. But it was that, and they just put me in there because they were like, look, we know you're not going to be a professional actor, but if you make enough money, you can save up for college so you can get a real job. And the real job never actually happened. Instead, the acting thing just kind of kept going, and I was very happy with it, so I stuck with it, and that's how I got into this. All the way on the left. Yes.
So before becoming Shoutmon, were you a Digimon fan? And if so, which one would you say would be your favorite or most likable one?
Oh, okay. I was a Digimon fan. I got into it. It was a recommendation from a person I knew online. And I was like, I tried to watch the first season when it first came out. And I think I got up to episode 9. And I was just like, no. This is not for me. And it's specifically, there's an episode where it's TK, the littlest boy, and Patamon, the babyest Digimon, bouncing around in a playpen going, wee, wee. And I went, okay, this is for little kids. I cannot take this anymore. Done. And then I was told, no, it gets good. Tune back in now. And so that was the Myotismon arc, where everybody goes to the real world. And it's super badass. And I went, oh, wow, this show became cool. Oh. And so I became a fan since then. My favorite is still Tamers, season 3. Japanese opening is so good. I love it. Biggest Dreamer rocks. Yeah, so I would say that's my favorite. Probably Renamon is like my favorite one from there because I think I love like badass women characters. I think they're cool. And I know a few jokes are being made. Yes, I know, and that's everybody's furry awakening. I get it. Yeah, I know. Sheesh. Let's see. I'm going to go all the way with the white hat.
What was it like playing Eric Sparrow and Tony Hawk's Underground?
Yes. So when I first saw the render for Eric Sparrow, I thought it was incomplete because I was like, he looks like such a jerk. Like nobody would actually like publish this. It turns out that was what they were going for. I auditioned for this role believing he was just going to be some kind of like Eminem wannabe, and so that's why he sounds the way he sounds. And I did not realize that I would grow up to annoy the living heck out of an entire generation of gamers with that. To the point where I still get like crap for it on the internet. Oh no, it's fine. I love it. I'm a glutton. I'm going to say all the way straight in the back. Yes. I don't know. Yes? No. Sort of. I like everything. Basically, here's the deal. Most of this stuff is like really, really awesome. Very few things are like, it pays the bills, I don't really care. And practically nothing is terrible. But I would say right now, yeah, it's still a Gretzko. And I'm not just trying to like say like, oh, I think this is what the furries want to hear. No, if you follow me on Twitter, you know I like this show. And I just use the fact that I'm in it as an excuse to retweet fan art. That's like, this is just to advertise it. Yeah, that's all that is. It's not because I like the show. What? Let's see here. I'm going to say green shirt, hand up. Yes. My idol personally is probably D. Baker. Most people don't know who D is. A lot of people will say oh, Seth MacFarlane is my favorite guy, and I'm like, okay, you ever watch American Dad? Yeah, the guy who plays the fish. That guy. One of the most ridiculously talented and humble people on the face of the earth. He is best known for being every single monster in basically every single everything. Every creature sound you hear. If you liked Avatar: The Last Airbender, he's Appa and Momo, both of them. He's ridiculously talented and a very, very nice person. So that would probably be my absolute number one idol. Really great guy too. Red thing, yes.
Who did you enjoy working with the most in your acting career?
It's kind of hard to say. I do a lot of anime, so it's mostly just me in a booth by myself. And I'm not going to sit here and go, me! I love working with me! Yeah, I would, okay, probably Cree Summer. because she's the voice of Penny from Inspector Gadget, Elmira from Tiny Toons. She's been doing this for like decades, and she's remarkably talented. And she cracks me up every single time. She's a very, very funny person. So I would say Cree. Yeah. Yes.
What is your strangest fan reaction?
My strangest fan reaction, it was somebody fainted. And listen, you guys, just for some perspective, I spend most of my time in a dark room yelling into a microphone at nobody. So it's always kind of surreal to come to a convention and go, oh, people know who I am? Really? So when somebody passed out because they got too excited to meet me, that was very much the strangest thing. I just did not expect that at all. And she was fine. But yeah, that was probably it. That was the weirdest one. Sir, in the gray. Yes.
Just a voice actor question. So when you're doing gigs, I know when I do gigs, it's always remote. Do you typically go to the studio in the booth, or do you have one where you just do remote?
So remote work stuff is starting to become a little bit more popular, but right now, especially, it depends on where you live. I live in Los Angeles. It's basically 99.9% going to studios. Especially if you're doing any kind of anime, they never let you do that from home because it's just way, way, way too complicated. But occasionally somebody will say hey, will you do a recording for me for my webcomic? And that I'll totally do from home. Yes. Purple shirt all the way in the back. Oh, you do. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to speak way louder. I can't hear you. Was there ever a project I may have missed out on? And then it turned out to be amazing. I don't pass on very many things, so it's really more a case of I tried out for it, I really wanted it, I didn't get it. Darn. But okay, there is one time I came close to it. I tried out for the role of Spider-Man in the latest PS4 game. And I remember walking into the callback going, well, you know who I really think should get this role? Yuri Lowenthal. And as I'm saying that, he comes right out of the room, and I went, okay. Well, I'm not getting this. Hopefully, if they're smart, they're just going to go with it. And they did, and I was actually very happy to not get it, because I thought he did a fantastic job. In the gray shirt with the hat. Yes.
Have you ever walked wrestled Bryce Pappenberg?
Oh, he would kill me. Bryce Pappenberg? Whoa! He has this really cute, kind of high-pitched kind of young guy voice, but he is built. He's a fire plug. That dude is strong. I've seen him literally knock a person out in a match, not just on the street, with a single roundhouse kick to the head. Bang! Gone. So I would not screw around with Bryce Pappenberg. I will tease him until he gets mad, and then I will back away and apologize profusely. Yes, sir. Yes.
Alright, so regarding the two salads, do you want to have to be a Caesar salad?
Oh, this is a pun. It is a JoJo's reference. Now you get it.
Oh, no.
Yes, one of the characters is named Caesar. Now you all get the joke. Caesar! Let's go.
What's a trait you feel like you have with some of the characters? What do you think you have in common with Hyena, the characters you play in Candy, etc.?
Well, let's see. For Kids Next Door, number one was a challenge for me because I was a young kid and I am not a leadership type. I don't like to get out front and speak into a microphone. But I had to learn how to actually talk with authority for that character. Number two is just sort of me being a dork. And Haida is literally just me. Haida is me if I worked in an accounting department and maybe about 4 years ago before I met my wife. That's basically me. Yeah, so it's my voice and it's my personality pretty much to a T. So, yeah. In the black shirt. Yes.
What was it like working with Kingdom Hearts?
Oh, Kingdom Hearts was neat.
Kingdom Hearts was, I did this game called Dream Drop Distance. It's part of the Kingdom Hearts saga, and I played the antagonist Xehanort as a young man. I actually got this job because I auditioned for a completely different project. So the way Square Enix likes to do stuff is they want you to give a verbal non-disclosure agreement before every single audition that you do, meaning you're supposed to say something like, "Hi, my name is Ben Diskin, I'm auditioning for the role of Ace, and I have read and agreed to the non-disclosure agreement," and you have to record that before you actually go into the lines. So for a different game, I believe it wound up being Final Fantasy Type 0, I forgot to put in that whole spiel at the beginning of all of my auditions. I just said my name, and I went, "Oh my gosh, I'm trying out for 10 different characters. I don't want to, what do I do?" So I went, all right, you know what? I'm going to record one thing, I'm going to say it one time, and then I'm just going to record all of the different characters' names. So I was going to be like, "Hi, my name is Ben Diskin, I've read and agreed to the non-disclosure agreement, and I'm auditioning for the role of," and then it was Ace, Josh, Steve, Brett, Chet, whatever the different characters' names were. And I submitted all of those auditions. Well, the guys behind this project heard all of those auditions, and based on those auditions, brought me in and just gave me the job. So I didn't even know who I was playing until I went in. And I said, "Okay, I don't remember auditioning for this. What do you guys want me to do?" So they started to play me my audition for Ace for Final Fantasy Type 0, but they kept stopping the audition after the slate. And I was like, "Okay, that's the slate. What else do you want?" They're like, "No, that's what we want. We want the way you did this slate for each of the characters." And I went, "What?" And they said, "Yeah, you just seemed so cold and dead and lifeless." And that's what we wanted for this guy. And so that's how I got that job. So, yeah. So apparently by sounding like I really didn't want to be there, they were like, "That's what we want!" The raised wing. Yes, sir. Oh, ma'am, sorry. It's hard to tell. Oh, JoJo's. We recorded basically all of JoJo's Part 2 in, I think, 2 weeks, which is remarkably fast. We were doing 8-hour days about 4 days a week, and we cranked through it as fast as we possibly could. There was this huge time crunch turnaround on that. So it was really fun, but I was also vocally just devastated by the end of it because there's so much yelling. But I like playing Joseph. He's fun and insane, and apparently thinks he makes a very convincing woman. He does not. Standing in the back with the hand up. Yes, sir. A role I would kill to do?
Oh.
A barrel roll. Technically, it's an aileron roll. I'm sorry. I watch Game Theory. Let's see. In the back with the ears. Yes.
So when you were doing both number 1 and number 2 for Kids Next Door, did you have to get into character for both of them, or were there any particular role techniques that you had to do to kind of swap voices as it were?
Yes. It's called being insane. Basically, it just means okay, this part is this part of the brain is number 1, and this part's number 2, and going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So when I'd have to argue with myself, we would do all of that stuff live. So it would just be like, "How dare you say that to my mother? You don't even like your mom. You take that back. I love my mother. You've never even met her." So that was the whole thing. All the way here, yes.
What was it like recording lines for Puyo Puyo?
Oh, for Puyo Puyo? Nice and easy. I play Sig in this game. It's called Puyo Puyo Tetris, and also Lemurs, but that's a different... Anyway, Sig is my favorite guy, because he's just bored the entire time. So it's just me talking like this. "Hey guys. Yay, Puyo Puyo Tetris is the best game ever." So I very much enjoy playing Sig. The person who was standing up, who had his hand up?
Oh.
Yes.
Is that Gritsuko getting a season 3?
I hope so. I do not know. So basically, I will only... to give you guys some idea of the turnaround time, I only found out about the Christmas special a month before it aired. And it was like, oh, by the way, you're recording this. What? But isn't it airing? And like, yes, come in now. Okay. So, yeah, so I have no idea, and I will probably not know until a month before we start recording. With the head in the air. Sai is cool because he's not actually emotionally dead, but he just sort of has his emotions kind of turned almost completely off. So it's like talking like a GPS navigation system. Please take a 5-mile drive off a 3-mile cliff. But yeah, just and insulting everybody without realizing it. But then he winds up, spoiler alert, getting his emotions back. So now he's just kind of a dude. So he's like, hey guys, hey, yeah, I'm Sai, and now I'm a little bit happier. All right. So I kind of almost don't know what to do with him now, but I still have fun. Let's see, I'm going to do, yes, in the front.
What is the weirdest character you've ever voiced for a video game?
Probably the weirdest character I've voiced is, I believe it's pronounced officially Merkaba, but it's Merkava in Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. He basically looks like Ava Unit 1 from Evangelion with rubber arms. And the entire time is just, yes, run for me. He's a very friendly boy. He just wants a hug that will last for the rest of your life. In the front, directly. So, kinda, there was one role that I definitely turned down. It made me feel way too uncomfortable. He is a bad guy, I should stress that, but he is very, very homophobic, and he throws the other F word around. And I'm like, I get it, he's the bad guy. You're not supposed to like him, but I'm like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. So like, those are really the only types of roles that I turn down. Oh, and I guess porn. Sorry. Like, I can't do hentai. I work for Disney. They would be way too mad. That's crossing the line. With the pink hair. I was a Muppets fan. I am still a Muppets fan. For Baby Gonzo was just it was just really cool. I actually didn't even get to audition for that character. They forgot to send me the sides, but the executive producer Tom Warburton and the director Matt Danner had both worked with me before, and they just said, "Hey, where's Ben's audition? Oh, we should just have him come in for the callback." So I came in and I did what I thought would be good for a young Gonzo, and they liked it, and they just hired me there. So. But yeah, no, it's Gonzo's actually my favorite Muppet. My favorite stuff was probably A Muppet Christmas Carol with him as Charles Dickens, and Rizzo as just a rat who just hangs out with Charles Dickens. So that's yeah. So I am a Muppets fan, and I am very lucky to get to play him. I'm going to say blue shirt in the back. Yes. You're going to have to speak a lot louder. I can barely hear you. Sorry. I think that the way they're handling this character is kind of interesting. So normally when Sanrio does any character, they're kind of meant to be sort of frozen in time. Like Hello Kitty is not like a woman in her 50s right now. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really do that. But with Retsuko, they seem to be trying to slowly but surely shape her and grow her as a character. So I think that what they're ultimately going to do is explore different aspects of what it is to be a young adult. Like season 1 was all about the workplace and how it can be really stressful. And season 2 it's branching out a bit more. They're like, well, maybe Retsuko should figure out what it is she wants out of life, and this is all about her growing as a person. which is, I think it's actually, to be honest with you, the ending of season 2, and I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, I didn't like it at first. I was like, why would she ever make that decision? Everything was going her way. Why? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it's because she figured out what it is that she wants, and that's why it's actually a really mature decision. So I see the character growing and possibly just exploring different aspects of adulthood. If a giant robot were attacking the city, I'd get stepped on, man. Real talk? I'd want to say, I'd climb on top of the giant robot, I'd rip open its cockpit and hotwire it and take it for a joyride on Mars, but no, I would just get killed. Super dead.
That's the only correct answer.
All the way on the end with the hand up. Yes?
Okay, so I see that you got some voices for Star Wars for Clone Wars.
Yes.
So what was your favorite, performance or moment that you got?
Let's see. I think it was probably, I play a character named Morley in Star Wars The Clone Wars, who is this giant weird snake guy who hangs out with Darth Maul, I believe, and tries to kind of trick him. And so I get to spend the entire episode being really, really creepy. So I guess that would probably be it. Sorry, it's not a good answer. Oh, okay. Yay! I'm going to say dither.
I got here late, and I was wondering, because I saw you get up there and get on stage, have a good time. How was it? First time suiting?
First time suiting? I have a lot of mad respect for you guys. That was a partial, and I was ready to die. Oh, wow. And listen, well made, by the way, so it's not like, is this a terrible heat trap? No, I'm like, oh my god, how do you guys pull this off without dying? But I do enjoy getting into character, as you guys can tell. So I actually really liked it. And also, by the way, in case you're wondering, that man over there is Dither, and he's the one who made this. When you see me in the first week parade wearing this thing out in the blazing sun, just think of Dither. And if I fall down and die, please blame that man. I'm going to say with the full fursuit in the yellow. Yes? Bon is just very different from me. So I put myself as far away as I possibly can. Bon, I think, is actually kind of a big sweetheart. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he just likes people to think he is. And also, he's literally immortal and basically indestructible. Like, you can slice him in half and burn the body, and somehow he'll come back to life. So he has this really relaxed kind of personality, which I actually really like, because I feel like if you were truly immortal and nothing could kill you, you would probably be a fairly nice person, because, do you really want to make an enemy out of the entire world and have people hate you forever? So, I kind of like the fact that they just took this, relaxed, chill guy vibe with the dude who cannot possibly die. So that's kind of how I get the character, I guess. Casual red shirt hand up.
Big Elder Scrolls Online fan here.
Oh, cool.
How did you land the role of the Augur of the Obscure?
What an obscure question. The Augur of the Obscure, for those of you guys who don't know, is a glowing magical skull who with a New Zealand accent who guides you around on quests, because Elder Scrolls. I got it because they said, hey, we need you to come in for this role. We think you'd be right for it. Can you do a New Zealand accent? When you're an actor, by the way, if anybody says, can you do blank, the answer is always, yeah. Can you walk on stilts while juggling? Of course. And so I hopped on YouTube, and I looked up every tutorial on how to do a New Zealand accent. And then I also watched a Kingdom Hearts streamer, whose name he goes by Cynical, and he is from New Zealand. So I just watched all of his videos as much as I possibly could and tried to absorb the accent as best as I could. And the results, I think, were mixed. But most people, I don't think, quite realized that it was not a real accent. So I think I managed to pull the wool over a few people's eyes.
hand up all the way in the back. Yes. My favorite Joseph Joestar quote, "Who wants tequila?" Nice, Caesarino. Let's see. Right here in the front. Yes. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, how did you meet your wife and what did she think of your career?
I actually met my wife because of Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, no, she's a big Kingdom Hearts fan, and she played Dream Drop Distance, which was the game I was in. And also, something bad happened to her. I won't go into details. It was a kind of a loss in the family/friend area. And she was really sad. Her roommate said, "Hey, listen, I'm watching a rerun of Kids Next Door. Why don't you come and sit down with me?" And so she watched it, and she heard number one talking, and she went, "I know I've heard that voice somewhere before," and looked me up online and went, "Oh, that's the guy from Kingdom Hearts." And her roommate said, "Oh, you should send him a message. He's on Facebook." She went, "What?" So she sent me a message, and I was like, "Hey, oh, she's cute." So with no delay, I wrote back very quickly, and we wound up having a big, long conversation, and eventually she visited me in Southern California. We went out a couple of times. The first date, I almost completely tanked the relationship, but mercifully, it bounced back, in case you're wondering what happened. So I spent the entire date thinking it was going horribly. Because I was expecting one of those television romance dates where it's like the conversation just flows and you never have a moment of silence, and there were too many times where we just didn't have anything to say, and I thought, she hates me. She wants me to leave her the heck alone, but we're stuck together. Oh my God, this poor, poor girl. So I brought her back to the hotel where she was staying at, and instead of giving her a kiss goodnight, I did one of these. All right. Yeah, and so she was staying with her cousin in this hotel room, and she went in, and apparently, according to her, like cried her eyes out because she thought that I like hated her and didn't like her at all. So then her cousin had to be like, "Why don't you write him another message? We're still here for a few more days. See if he wants to do anything else." She's like, "He doesn't like me. He doesn't want to do it." So her cousin forced her to write me, and I went, "Oh my gosh, she doesn't hate me." Okay. And so then I went over this with her on the second date, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, I thought you hated my guts." And she's like, "No, I thought you hated me." I'm like, "Want to be my girlfriend?" And she said, "Yes." And that's how I almost niced my way out of a relationship. I'm going to say yes with the hair and the yes.
Awesome. Okay, so I got a very different question for you.
Okay.
It's actually going to be technical.
Ooh.
Because I'm a musician myself, and musicians, we got a lot, do all that stuff, practice, and eliminate certain habits, develop certain habits. So as a starting voice actor, what do you suggest we try to either eliminate or improve?
Oh, okay. That's kind of hard to say. So basically, I'm assuming you're a singer?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, the stuff that you've been taught not to do is most of what we do. So in other words, where they're like, "Oh, don't do that, you're going to strain your vocal cords," that's kind of everything about this job. So like, if you ever find out that actors are like losing their voices, it's because we kind of have to for certain roles. So I would say, basically, get used to yelling at the top of your lungs, full volume from the throat, which is like about the worst thing you can possibly do. But that's what you need to do. And stuff that maybe you might use to get around that, like for instance, if you ever do any kind of metal singing, that kind of like stuff like that, you can't really use that in like a war game, for instance. If they say like, "We need you to yell grenade going out," they don't want you to say grenade going out. They want to say that. You have to full blast it out at the top of your lungs. So basically brace yourself, and also drink a lot of tea, lots of honey in that tea, and water, room temperature. And as far as techniques, best thing you can do is try to stretch your vocal range. It'll just give you more character width. So I would say practice going as high as you possibly can. And as low as you possibly can go. And deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Until you can pull everything down. Okay. The further you pull
more different roles you can try out for it, but that's about it.
What are warm-ups?
Warm-ups. Let's see. It's mostly just stuff like try to work the soft palate as much as you possibly can. In the car on your way there. Didn't work. So the more back and forth you can do, it'll help. Unless, of course, you're trying out for something that requires a super silky smooth voice, in which case, probably don't do that. Yes.
Yeah, I did. I actually did ask that question. This is also regarding Kids Next Door. I believe you were one of the delightful children from Down Lane. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
Two things. One, how in the hell did you guys do all that unison stuff we were talking to Moms? And two, when you worked with Maurice LaMarche, who I can't even do Father's Day.
Yes.
Did the level of intimidation you put in that character ever just make you go, oh my God, am I going to be killed here?
No. Maurice is, here's my Maurice LaMarche story. So, you know, I was very young. I was about maybe 19 when I was doing this role. And I had the metabolism of a 19-year-old. And so I was sitting in a chair just like popping M&Ms, just like, oh boy, that's delicious. And he's sitting next to me. And Maurice is, he's a bit of a big boy, a little bit, got a bit of a belly. And he just sits there and he does this. And his stomach goes, wah, 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 wah. Snap. Wah, 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 wah. And I look at it, he's like, enjoy it while you can. Oh, I was just like you one time. I put the M&Ms down. So I don't find Father very intimidating because that's the first thing that pops into my mind is Maurice LaMarche slapping his belly. For children, it was hard to do the stuff all at once. Specifically because we weren't always all there at the same time. So it would be usually me and, if I believe correctly, me, Dee, and Cree, and Lauren would come in later because I believe she was in Canada at the time. And would have to like sync everything up. So that was just kind of a challenge to just get it all out at the same time. We'd all have to have notes in the script about when we're going to take each beat and making sure that we're all kind of on the same page emotionally, but really it's not a very emotional role, it's very monotone. So that's how we pulled that off.
Also, what was that one, his name, the one they never revealed?
The tall one in the back?
No, they revealed that was David, the football one was Lenny, the Marvin was Bruce, and then the glasses was Constance, but they had to go with the honey blonde hair, they never gave her a name.
Oh, I don't know, actually.
What did you name her?
Cindy. Ta-da. Okay, we got about 5 more questions. Who has not gotten an answer to ask a question? Who just went, oh.
I just want to do you.
So not like company itself, but what was your least favorite character you've ever played, and what series have you voiced for that you just absolutely hate the series of?
Oh boy, that's hard to. Honestly, it takes a lot for me to actually full-on hate a series. I will say this. This is not a bad series. Well, okay. The people who worked on this really, really worked as hard as they possibly could. This was a Chinese animated series. It's a 3D series, and it was on Netflix. I think they took it down. It's called Kibao Clashers. And I play like the young male character. He's like a young male protagonist anime type guy. And he is actually supposed to be 10. They had to change a number of things because China has kind of different views on things of what's considered acceptable for a kid's show. In this show, despite the fact that it looks like it's made for very little kids, there's like murder and rape and really, really, really horrible graphic violence. So they had to completely edit all of that stuff out to make it kid-friendly. And, yeah, and they had to completely redo all of the sound effects, as much of the music as they possibly could, because so much of it would not actually work. That would probably be like the worst thing I've ever worked on. But I honestly, like the people who were working on it were all really nice and understanding, so I can't even be like, I hated that. It's like, it was really nice people.
in the plaid purple.
Ever have a really great performance that didn't make the final cut?
I don't think any of my performances is that good, bro. Honestly, like, I'm my own harshest critic. I would say, no, okay, a bunch of stuff that is thoroughly inappropriate that I'm like, come on, put that in. That doesn't get put in. That I would say is yeah. I'll tell you one, because why not? There's a scene in Gretzko, episode 1, I think, where Feneko, Haida, and Retzko are looking at Washimi and Gori walking away, and they're going, wow, those women are so cool. And it's a shot of all three of them. They paused it because they needed to do some editing and make some decisions behind the scenes. And I just sit there staring at it in the booth, and I said, oh, Retzko, your head is the perfect height. And all they didn't get it at first. It took a second, and they went, oh my god! And I didn't know that the character actually has a crush on her, so I felt really bad. But yeah, so that did not make the final cut. Shockingly, I know. Gee, boy, if there's anything I wish I could... No, I wouldn't have put that in there. With the bandana. Yes. My favorite young okay. Well, this one also didn't make it into the game. It's in Kingdom Hearts 3. It's the one and only dirty joke I told throughout the entire series. And he says to Sora, like, your heart will be filled with a vast darkness. And that's my favorite line, because from then on I decided that vast darkness is his nickname for his special friend. So, yeah. This just became an 18+ panel, apparently. Anyway, it's because it's so vast and dark. Anyway, terrible. So that's become, even though, like, to anybody playing that game, it's just one of the many lines that he says. You're welcome. Horrible person, Ben Diskin. Straight in front of me. Yes.
Okay.
Some funny Joseph Joestar lines. Way to go, Caesarino. Oh, this woman, she looks so beautiful. Nice. Oh my God, it's my mother. Have that. Yay.
One more.
One more. We got one more. Who has not gotten to ask a question? Yeah.
Could you please just yell Captain as loud as you can for fun?
Okay, I'm going to step away from the microphone because I like you guys. Captain! That was it. That's the whole panel. Thank you guys so much for coming out.
Silver Gatoman, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gatoman, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gatoman, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.